It was, yeah. I mean, it's just some bike chat, isn't it? And Valparaiso is a good street race. I've never been there, but it always. It's you know the one from the stair set. That's where I know Valparaiso from. It's that famous stair set. Bernard had a huge crash on it.
He did. He did.
It always just seems to be. It's almost become like the Taxco. I feel like it's almost the one that you look out for. Yeah, in Chile. Yeah, but it was really cool to see. I watched it on the Red Bull TV, and it had obviously Warner was calling the event. Elliot Jackson was co-hosting, and then Wynne was on there doing the expert analysis.
Fantastic.
And it was really cool. It was like, I don't know, it was like being back at the World Cups, to be honest. It was great to see.
Yeah.
And street racing, I feel like street racing, if Red Bull jump on it, it has the potential to be this thing that goes out to the masses, because it's so relatable. Like, everyone knows what steps look like. Everyone can imagine what it's like to ride a bike. And then you kind of put those things together. Like, downhill kind of doesn't necessarily mean anything to someone who doesn't ride, I feel like.
Yeah.
A ski lift, a mountain, a rock drop-off. You can't relate to it, can you?
No. And I think what Red Bull are really good at is taking these sort of more outdoorsy sports and bringing them to an environment where people do relate to. I mean, look at what they do with the slopestyle event in the town. What's that one?
Exactly, District
Ride. Yeah, they did the one in Poland last year, which was again huge, massive, outside that stadium. Yeah. I feel like it's probably controversial, but no, not controversial, but what other sports have Red Bull being like the title sponsor of and the broadcaster of, where it's not a deviation of that sport? Does that make sense?
I hear you. Yes. Like it's sort of ownership over the sport in a different way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, just there is something in having a broader reach. So Danny Mac's a great analogy, I guess, for it. You can see people who are really good on bikes in all kinds of edits, but the ones that stick out are when it's a phone box, because everyone knows what a phone box looks like, and Danny can do his thing on a phone box. And it's like, I feel like street racing, it's interesting seeing it broadcasted in this way. I mean, they've done it previously, but
I guess you're looking at it from a different angle, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And I guess it's like you say, it's one of those questions people had, is like, what direction do Red Bull go with mountain biking?
Yeah.
And this is one where they could take this concept of urban downhill and make it a series, or I guess it is a series.
Let's go through the reasons. Yeah, it is a series. So it's relatable, it's on the streets, it's action-packed, it's really close racing. Yeah. Really, really close racing. Like, just the fact that the tracks are naturally going to be a tiny bit shorter than a World Cup downhill track. Yeah. They are. There's less time to make up, and it's balls to the wall. You know, it's like you have to go all out if you're racing a street race and you want to win. Like, there's no kind of relaxing. So in that comes crashes, which norms want to see. People that don't ride, that they want to see stuff that they can relate to, that's spectacular, that's on the edge, and they want to see crashes. Yeah. So it's like, it actually, not by design, but it's like you can imagine how it could really captivate like a non-bike audience. For
sure. And so a big positive there. So what would you say? Let's just summarise that positive we've got. We've got captivating. Yeah. Should we put a captivating word in it?
It is, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
It's relatable. So I think that's the first one you start with. It's relatable.
I think it's also relatable. Sorry to interrupt you there. It's also relatable because people can also obviously relate to the environment, which is the street, and it's how big a curb is, or how big an 8-step a stairs is, and how hard it would be to hit a handrail going at 40 mile an hour. People can, you can relate to that. Whereas if you see someone who hasn't ever seen mountain biking, they see a step down in the woods and they're like, I don't know, it doesn't mean anything.
Valparaiso, there was the step down that was through someone's house out of a window. I mean, that instantly, the step down can be half the size, and someone watching at home is going to instantly understand it. Whereas, who knows, in the woods, when you see Brooke triple something up in the middle of a root garden, it doesn't mean as much, does it?
No, not at all.
It doesn't mean as much as when you see Slavic jump out a window. You're like, bloody hell. So I think the fact that it's relatable is the biggest one.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's got close racing. I think naturally it's close racing because the hill's smaller. And I think it's got thrills and spills because they're racing close to the edge.
Totally. And I also think from bringing people into the sport, maybe that's relatable, maybe it's that sort of thing, but, let's say you saw a poster for Fort William, and you're just a regular Joe, and you go, right, Fort William, fuck, that's a long way, like, it's right up there in the Highlands, and I've got to take my walking jacket, and I've got to take a pack up, and I've got to hike up a mountain, whereas there, you're like, okay, just get a tram into the city, and then, boom, it's right there, it's like on my doorstep sort of thing, so, yeah, easy to bring people in. I bet
No, you're so right. So then you get the track is lined with people.
Yeah, which is dope.
Puerto Vallarta, they had listed 40,000 people. I think that was the last race we did. So that is a giant local audience, regardless of the TV stuff. That means it's a spectacle. And it's one that you can't really get in a mountain town. You get close to a World Cup, but it's still like an educated audience then, the people lining the track. Whereas this can just be people going about there every day and stopping and seeing something really crazy.
Yeah. Wow, you're right, mate. There's some good positives there. Negatives to urban downhill racing. Is there any negatives that come to your mind?
I think we're going to have to then go back to positives so that it turns it into a shit sandwich.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of any negatives.
Oh, I swore.
Bet a pound in the thing. Put a pound in.
Ding. I think negatives wise, I can't actually honestly think of any. I never like it when an event encourages sort of crashes, and I don't like the crashes, but that's what makes it so thrilling. A tree is as hard as a wall. Maybe that's quite a broad statement, and I sound quite stupid saying it, but a tree can be as hard as a wall, yet a wall, you understand how hard a wall is.
Yeah.
You don't question it. And seeing someone hurtle past a wall or a handrail or something like that, there's something like about the risk that is really, Valparaiso, down those steps. Have you ever you saw some of the drone clips of people going down the steps? They are flying, and we've got street race specialists now. We've got like people that aren't necessarily. There's all kinds of riders doing them, but there are people that are street race specialists. Slavic's had a glittering 4-cross career.
Yep.
And he is now a street race specialist. He's battling with Pedro Ferreira at most of these.
Okay.
And he is a street race specialist. And it's so cool to see these guys, like the technique and the power. Like Slavic puts out crazy watts. And you see him on a sprint section, and it is shocking. I feel so bad for his chain. You've seen his legs.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. It's insane. I gated him once. So no shit. I didn't really.
You what, sorry?
Nah, I'm joking. I did racing once.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Bike Live, is it, or something? When they did like a bike and they had a 4-cross, like a duel outside. I can't remember what event it was.
Nice. There you go.
Anyway.
There you go. He puts out 2,300 watts apparently. I'll message him. Someone said that to me. He puts out 2,300 watts in an effort. Do you know, that is astronomical.
Is it really?
Is like eye-watering. If you tried to put out, that's literally just, you're sat on a turbo, you're pedaling as hard as you can for just like one pedal stroke, just the maximum watts that you can do.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
that is a lot. So anyway, back to the race. So, for instance, one of the bad things about street racing is, again, the crashes are really bad, and we've seen in the past, I think Slavic had an awful crash in Valparaiso. Slavic and Ferreira both crashed in practice. Slavic's messed up his ankle, he's got no ligaments down one side, and he could barely walk. And Ferreira's broken his wrist, I think, so he's out for the finals. Slavic's racing for the finals. It was really exciting to see. I think he qualified second to last, so he's second to last man down. And when you saw him at the end of his run walk to the hot seat, you can see how much pain he's in, and he's a unit,
Yeah.
So it was kind of one of those like fairy tale stories,
For sure. A couple of broken ankle heroes this weekend. Same happened in the Super Bowl, mate. There's a twisted ankle. Patrick Mahomes came out. Still won the game. Yeah.
Still won. And then last man down.
I got a negative.
So it was wicked. Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a negative, but this is adding a new style of riding to mountain biking. Not a new style, but okay. I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. So you're a young kid, you see this happening in your hometown of Valparaiso. You get yourself a bike. Where do you practice? You have to practice on the streets, and I don't quite... The thing is with mountain biking is if you're going to go out for a bike ride, you're in the middle of the woods. You're not going to get some old lady carrying shopping up the stairs that you're going to try and double. Do you know? Yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just throwing it out there that is, if we're going to start doing that more, then how do people train for it? Because it's really difficult to build a training environment which is urban, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, I sound like a Ryan nanny, don't I? Like, oh, it's not very safe though, is it?
The same applies for sort of like monster trucks as well.
Yeah, I guess.
Where's your practice, guys? Can't go down Morrison's. What are you doing?
And cage fighting.
Practicing monster trucks. Cage fighting. Although maybe people do.
You can't just start beating people up, can you, in Argos? You know?
No.
Oh man, I don't know. I just throwing it out there.
No, I know.
Hey, here's an idea. Here's an idea then. So, do we have anywhere in the UK that we could hold where there could be an urban downhill? Is there a city or a town which is high enough, top
Plymouth,
to bottom?
Didn't there? I mean, to make it big enough, I don't know. I was talking.
I think
they
used to have one in Scarborough,
the Isle of Wight. Oh, okay.
I think so, because Scarborough's got a castle, and I think it used to start in the. And I'm going back years, dude. When I first discovered mountain biking, there used to be a downhill race in Scarborough. I think, yeah. And that's like it's quite a steep like thing, gradient.
The South Americans just own it, and there's so many fast South Americans as well. Like when you look at the top 10, I know the race is in Chile, but there are a lot of internationals there, and just the street race specialists. It shouldn't really come as a surprise. It's a real thing. Like they're turning on flat turns. I'd love to know some of the stuff they do. Like, what do you do to a tyre to make it adhere to tarmac and like concrete and like is there anything you can put on it to make it break down quicker? You'd obviously just want it mega soft, super hard, super compound, super hard pressure.
Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type the Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!